Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I mean, it's so inspiring to see so many people that prefer to come here to hear about Streamlit apps rather than enjoying an apéro on the terrace. So we'll try to make it at least at the same level as a beer on the terrace. So thank you so much also for the organizers. So it's a pleasure to collaborate with LauzHack. Thank you for inviting us. Yes. So just to give a brief introduction about us, so just to get to know each other, I will let Solange present herself.
Hello, everybody. So I am Solange. I studied here physics at EPFL. I did a PhD in statistical biophysics, and then 1 year of data science at ETH. And now I've been working at Argusa, the company in which we are working for 1 year, and mostly in the field of data science and data visualization. And as there is not only job and data in life, I'm also a sports enthusiast, want to practice and to watch on TV. So yeah.
Thank you, Solange. And I'm Shinichi. Nice to meet you. I'm a former physicist, particle physicist. I attended a PhD course at the University of Ferrara in Italy, and then I had the opportunity to work at CERN for one of the 4 major experiments in particle physics. So my background is, let's say, mainly on data science. And then when I joined Argusa about 1.5 years ago, I also had the opportunity to kind of develop the expertise in data management. And I would say definitely I'm a cat person. So we can debate later about cats and dogs. So just a bit introduction about Argusa. So the idea, Argusa is a consulting company founded 7 years ago. So the mission of Argusa is to help enterprises to kind of unlock the potential of their data. So we help clients to build a solution, and from this solution to take action about the businesses. So we offer like 4 main services. So we try to like bring their client from the whole data journey, from like the strategy around data all the way to the exploitation of the systems. And we work with clients in several industries. You can find like a list down there. And we also organize event on campus. So we are based here at the Innovation Park. And for instance, one event that we will, maybe we can talk a bit later. So one of the event we are organizing next month is the AI challenge. So we also try to kind of engage students in these events. So this was our side. We would like a bit to know about your side as well, to get to know. So if you, I will let Solange.
Yes, if you scan this QR code, or you go on Menti URL with this code. Okay. I try just, yep, it come back. Okay. Okay, is everybody on the page? Okay. Oops. So the first question is, what are you doing currently, studying outside academia? What are the main trends in this audience? Mostly master students. A few seconds. Okay, so mostly master students, nice. And the question now is, what is your background or domain, or in which section are you? Computer and data, not so surprising. Yeah, so nice that yes, so different domains are interested and are joining in this data and events. So okay, cool. So how familiar are you with these different aspects of computer science in general? Python and data science are machine learning.
Science.
It's nice. So we hope that it will not be so unknown to you what we will talk about tonight. Okay, and then what comes to your mind when you hear Streamlit? So, nothing. That's honest. I like it. Code, data visualization, Python applications. Yes. Streamlit listings.
Streaming, websites, web apps, nothing. Visualization. Okay.
We won't do this question again at the end, but I hope that the answers would have changed. And last, how much do you know? So of course, if it's nothing for you, I think I know the answer, but maybe some of you already tried it or are used to it. Okay. Okay, thanks for your participation to this small Mentimeter, which is an introduction. So we are coming back to the slides. So thank you. And now, as we said, and you probably know, data is almost everywhere in our world actually, and sometimes for the good part of it, and sometimes a bit worse. And when I say the worst part, there is no magic. If you start with some rubbish data at the beginning of a process, whatever you do after, it will be also a rubbish object at the end, but slightly different, but the quality will not be there anyway. So the way that you govern the process from the beginning to the end is very important, and that's also where we work with our clients at Argusa. And this process starts with the data sources at the beginning, where they are stored and how you integrate them in data warehouses. After that, you have the most visible part of what you can build with visual analytics or machine learning and AI algorithms that will lead to the results that you want to obtain. And all of this has to be embedded into a clearly defined governance framework. In this process, there is the AI machine learning and visual analytics steps where you are able to interact with the user and provide clear results. And in this step, there are many possibilities, many tools that you can use, and one of them is the one we are speaking about tonight. So it is Streamlit. So we hope that you are here to hear about Streamlit, and not only for the pizzas that come after. And Streamlit, what is Streamlit? That's the main question. And for those who do not yet know anything about Streamlit, it is a Python framework which is used to build interactive web applications. So from Python scripts, you have easily in a few lines of code, clearly some shareable dashboards with which the user can interact. So there is no need to know any user interface, any UI development language, such as HTML or CSS. You don't need to know anything about it to obtain an application that can be used by anybody. This runs entirely in Python, so the interface automatically refreshes each time that there is an interaction with the user, and it is designed mostly for data scientists and engineers and students who want to show their results relatively quickly. So the advantage of Streamlit, why you should use it, is first, the simplicity. It's really, you can shortly make some first nice applications with it. And it's also, there is a speed. You can develop it quite quickly, and it can be very advantageous for your student project or any small proof of concept that you may want to build. This is open source, and no front-end code is required. In the deployment process of Streamlit apps, one of the possibilities which is widely used is you have your code in Python, which is then put on a GitHub repository, and you connect Streamlit to the GitHub repository to have it online and to share the link to anybody. So there are alternatives to Streamlit. It's not the only and the only tool in this domain, but we'll come back to it a bit later. So let's assume that now we want to develop something, a small app with Streamlit. What do you need to install? So of course you need to have Python on your computer, but I think that most of you who study daily with sciences, you have already Python, and you have a code editor, and that's almost everything. You run once the installation of Streamlit in Python, and that's done. So not a lot of setup, and it has also that this is clearly an advantage with its counterpart. If you want to build something very customizable, you will not do that in Python. You will have to use HTML, CSS. It will be customizable, but very heavy and costly. On the other hand, if you want something more rustic, let's say, simple, functional, not a lot of setup, Streamlit is the best tool. So it depends what you want and what are the possibilities that you have for the development. Okay, so what is the best way to start with Streamlit? There were a few slides, but otherwise, that is to start directly with Streamlit itself. So to do that, here, this is a very small Streamlit app, and the aim of this app is only to show you the main and the most basic Streamlit function that you can add to your app in order to interact with the user. So this is, for instance, in this window, is it written large enough? You managed to read also? Okay. I don't know if I can. Can I zoom? Okay, let's do like that. So if you want that the user of your app to enter an integer, you have the number input function. So each time that you see SD dot, it means that you are using a Streamlit function. And here you can ask the user to enter an integer. So for instance, let's say 6, and you can add a button. So the Streamlit button function, compute factorial, and when you click, you display the result. The value of 6 factorial is 720. So this is really easy to display a button directly on the interface. And then if you want to add some additional information without the interface being too busy with text, you can add some expander and add additional information that the user can display and hide. So this is a first small example. Another one that you may want to have in your app is to do some plots. So to do some plots, in this example, we have the possibility to select, using select box, among a set of predefined functions that will be plotted. So here, let's say we want to plot the logarithm. So the user can choose to display the logarithm in the select box. And as I said at the beginning, each time the user interacts with the app, everything is refreshed. So the plot here was changed to the logarithm, and you can then modify the value of the parameter. And the question of the digit is not the question here, but here when we change, we see that automatically the plot refreshes. So, and this is shown using the Streamlit pyplot function with the predefined figure as you would define it in Python. And last thing that can be also very useful when you build an app is the possibility to upload a file so that it will then be used and analyzed in your file. So here we are with the Streamlit file uploader function. The user can add a file which is automatically loaded and displayed directly in the web interface. So this small examples of both plot, file upload, or also showing some data frames, because here the file is converted into a Python data frame. All of these are really simple in Streamlit, and you can develop it relatively easily without any need. We didn't do anything for the interface and the formatting of the web page. Everything is done automatically from the Python script. Okay. So this was a simple first example with a few tools that can be used, but of course you can imagine something a bit more complex in how it is developed. And we created a small toy example that could be, for instance, a project for a student. In this project, which is at Publibike, the bike rental company you maybe know, you are asked to do two things: to create a reservation platform and to propose analysis tools in order to improve company performance. So all of this is fictive, both the project and also the data. There is nothing real in it, but we will show what can be done in this context in a slightly more developed applications to show you where we can really mix the possibility of both Streamlit and the computer machine learning and AI power of Python. So this is a small app that we have. And first, let's say that we want to reserve a bike. So here you have a form where you can, for instance, let's say you want to rent a city bike for tonight in the evening, let's say after the pizza at 8 from Esplanade and to the Lausanne gas station, and you enter your email address, let's say some email address, and you can reserve a bike. Okay, there are nice and possibility of animations. That's the most important thing in Streamlit, and your bike is booked. After a few hours later, you return your bike, and okay, yeah. If I come back, let's say I check. Okay, that's my mistake. I should have. I will not do it because I should have checked the bike ID that I rent, but I didn't look at it when it was showed on the screen. So I cannot return my bike right now. But if I have my bike ID, yes?
I think it was 10.
Nice. Yeah. Thanks a lot. We'll try. Let's see. I'll give you a beer if it's 10. Beautiful. Thank you. And I can return my bike with the ID 10, because there is an internal check. The ID corresponds to what was during the reservation. So that's for the platform, the reservation platform. But the company also wants to improve the service that it offers. And for that, there are two services that were developed during this project. The first one uses the LLM possibilities in Python. So we use the API of GPT in that case, and the company want to analyze all the feedback. It has stored a table where in each reservation, the user says, okay, I was happy because, I was not happy because, and it has a lot of data in it, and the people in the company want a short summary. So to do that, you can filter your data. Let's say we want to focus on long duration rides and only people who are not satisfied. Here, so we see that it restricts to, okay, let's say also 3 to 18 feedbacks in the data with an average grade of 2.5. Here are the histogram. And the important point in this app is you generate a summary of all the feedbacks that were stored of unsatisfied people. So this is done live here. It's summarizing using the API of GPT-4, I think. And you have a small summary with what was not appreciated, where were the problems, and which are the possibilities for the company to enhance customer satisfaction. So here the data is relatively small, but if you start to have hundreds of feedbacks that you will have to analyze, you can really gain a lot of time to do that. The second aspect of analyzing this the activity of the company of Publibike, they notice that there is a problem because many people are returning the bike too late, and that's a problem because then there is no availability, and they have to fix it and at least to understand it better. So what they do with this tool, with this platform, is that we are loading some data that we generated. So it's not true data, it's totally fictive, but you have more than 30,000 of rides which are stored in the database. And we will train a model which aims to predict, depending on the conditions, the weather, when it is in the year, the hour, if the bike is returned late or not. So you can use the different packages in Python to do algorithms such as gradient boosting, linear regression, any model that you want. And you train the model on the data that you have, and you can see the result of how precise your model is. So the goal here is not to speak clearly about is the model good or not. There is 64% of accuracy, but it's not a good confusion matrix. I know it, but let's say that the one that we want to use. And with this model, which we trained on the existing data, we want to know, okay, maybe let's say in a few weeks, an evening in December, okay, on the 19th of December, after a good fondue, someone wants to rent a bike and he wants to come back a few hours later. It's not sunny, it's let's say snowy, cold, and windy. And that's holidays. And in the evening, after a few glasses of wine also maybe. And in that case, with the models that we trained, is it likely or not that the person will return the bike late? Yes, it is. I'm not so surprised, but with the models that we trained, in these conditions, in winter, holidays, in the evening, with bad weather conditions, with the data we have, it is very likely that the person will return its bike late. So how can it be used in a company? Then it can say, okay, we know that we have to have more bikes at this location, or to reorganize our bike if we can. And this can be used for improvement of the service. So I hope that this small fictive project showed you the possibilities that you can develop with Streamlit to create something interactive using all the tools that you have in Python and embed them into a web application. So I don't know if you're sleeping or thinking about Streamlit, but we'll see, because now I spoke enough and it will be your turn to try. So if you have the computer with you, you can make some small groups. You have the playground of Streamlit on this link, where you don't have to install anything on the playground. You can try to do a small examples. To guide you, we suggest 2 small tasks depending on how you are or familiar you are with Streamlit. The first one is to load a wine dataset, which can be uploaded using this Python command, and then do some plots, show what you want as a function of other features, and be creative to try and just to play with it. The goal is really for you to play with Streamlit and show what you can do. The second task, the second possibility that we suggest is to create a small quiz where you create some questions, answers, and you see how the user can be scored live depending on the answers, and modify the question types, how you want to display it, and yes, go with your imagination. So I will leave it for a few minutes, and then you will have also a list of Streamlit basic functions that you may want to use in this small app. So yes, if you have a computer, just go with it, or otherwise make some small groups, and this will be for around 10 minutes, I would say.
Will you show the link one more time?
Yes, the link is here, streamlit.io/playground.
Okay, guys. So unless we have a volunteer would like to show, a group of volunteers would like to show something. Okay. We hope that we gave you kind of a bit of the feeling how in 10 minutes you didn't know about maybe anything about Streamlit, but you could make your first web application very easily, just to import 2 commands, and you have an interface. You can display your data, your results, without even knowing, just knowing like it's simple Python syntax. So this is how where exactly Streamlit shines, and just in the second part, yes, of the presentation, we will go more a bit how to use Streamlit. Is it really used, and eventually, is it worth learning? So just want to ask a question. Have you, so I mean, you've said that you're basically familiar with Python. So how many of you do use like Jupyter notebooks, for instance? Okay, many. Have you ever wondered how do, for instance, I share in an effective way to a colleague, to a friend, or make public a Jupyter notebook such that everyone can interact with this data? So with Jupyter notebook, you can do it. You can, I mean, you have some web version, but you have to kind of manage versioning. You have to publish it. It's not optimized for that. It's nice for kind of very quick analysis. And have you, on the same time, if you want to introduce a widget, for instance, you would like to have a small box, you set the parameter and your analysis change. Yeah, a bit not so optimized. And then also you have all this problem of running the notebook, right? You have to make sure that your notebook is aligned, that the cell below was run after. So you have to make sure that your version is consistent. So Streamlit, I think it's kind of a competitor of a Jupyter notebook. And And in order to answer to this question, I will, so is it really worth learning? I think we can kind of decompose it in 3 parts, let's say. Does it really give me something more for my skill set? Is it really used in companies? Like companies that do use this tool in their kind of stack? And can I put it on my CV, such as, is it good or bad? So eventually, the question is, does these 2 consultants are proposing something that is, I will just look at it at school, but it's not used, or can I really introduce in my skill set? So just to give you a brief overview of the Streamlit community. So it's a kind of a growing community. Streamlit has been recently acquired by Snowflake. So it's you have more than 500,000 monthly active developers, and you have a lot of materials behind it, a lot of documentation which is updated, and it's in continuous development. So you have many contributors in GitHub as well, and you had tons of examples in the gallery app. So you're thinking about, I would like to develop an application about rental of bikes. Yes, you probably navigate in the app gallery, you will find an example. How can I host a small LLM so I can maybe create a model and then interact with this model? Yes, we have tons of examples around the LLM. So as you may have seen, the 3, let's say, main use cases in which Streamlit really is, I would suggest as a tool, is when you have your code and you would like to make it pretty, you have to make it presentable to other people and with interactivity. So the first, I would say, really interactive dashboards and visualizations. So, and with very few lines of code, you can prototype a dashboard and then a reactive user interface. The second one, let's say you have an idea in your head, and then you would like to develop a small project. It's like a small data science project. You would like a page for your exploratory data analysis. You would like a page for to display how you train your model, and you would like a page with your results. And in these results, you would like to change parameters accordingly in the full analysis. With Streamlit, you can do this very quickly. You can create a multi-page app, as Lange showed. And in these apps, you can configure all these parameters very easily, and this works very well. And the last part, if you want to scale a bit more, let's say you want something that scales with 10, 50 users, let's say, that connect to these apps and talk with the database and then produce some plots. Yes, you can do it. You can produce forms, you can update tables, you can talk with database, and then basically build these small applications. So to answer the second part, so let's say, how can Streamlit bridge these users? So let's say users in a company can be senior executives, can be directors, can be peers, like other analysts, you can be a data engineer, and then you want to kind of show your results to your data scientist. So basically, when you want to show something in a easy way to interact, then you can, let's say, try to bridge this gap. But in order to do so, in an enterprise solution, let's say you have all your data sources. The source of the data can come from, let's say, sensors, can come from your source system in your business. You also can have experiments which produce data. Okay, so how can we bring this data to our users? So it's what we do, for instance, when we work with the clients. The first step in this journey is to prepare this data. As you may know, like the first part of a good analysis is to make good quality data. So the data preparation part happens usually in a data platform. So it's a platform that can allow the ingestion of data, the transformation of data. Maybe you can check the quality of the data in this platform, and then you can build some pipelines that can bring this data with some SQL, for instance, or Python, and then can transform this data into several steps. Let's say, data preparation part happens in this data platform. And as technologies, we see, for instance, Snowflake, Databricks, and other kind of platform that allow this transformation to happen. Here, so a lot of SQL and Python. And then when you have prepared your data, you have to present it in a sustainable way to your users. So you have to build what we call the exploitation layer, the presentation layer. And let's say you have 3 phases in modern analytics. You have the more classic one, which is data analysis. Let's say you have your data, you have an analyst. This analyst is in charge of analyzing this data, produce plots, and then to visualize this plot. So it's more about data visualization and statistical correlation. So in this part, so the first part, you have business intelligence tools, so BI, and data visualization. And some of the solution are, for instance, Tableau and Power BI. The next step, if you want to go more in advance, so you want to analyze more in deep your data and find correlation that you cannot find easily with data analysis, you build a model. You build a machine learning model or deep learning model in order to go further deep. And then for this solution, usually we have like it's pure Python, or you have also application like Dataiku that allows to make it more operational. And the last part, the kind of the most hyped one right now, is the one about agents. So artificial intelligence, in particular agents that can interact with your data without you to really have to build any code. So this data will look, these agents will look directly into your data. You ask questions in natural language, and then you receive reports or business answers. And in this field, you have LLMs and agents. You have all these kind of APIs that you connect with. And the idea is that different roles cover different parts of this data chain. So you have the first part of the data chain, which is covered by the data engineer. And then downstream, you have yes, you have different roles that cover different parts. But and you also have professionals that has to cover the whole architecture. So how to design these solutions, and these are more data architects. So the question is, where does Streamlit fit in this particular architecture? Yes, in the 3 parts. You can basically build with Streamlit data analysis, small data analysis apps. You can train your model and then show the results in Streamlit. And you can also build some agents or some LLMs, and you can embed Streamlit around to make it interact with your model. So I think we don't have so much time, so we'll try to go a bit quicker. So yeah. So I think yes, the idea in where does it fit in your toolkit? Let's say it's really a tool for communication, let's say, and for data visualization, and also for once again for your to display your machine learning models. So just to have a quick comparison between different tools. So in order to when we evaluate different tools, we have different dimensions. So for instance, how hard is to learn this tool, which are the functionalities, which are the scalability, how much time to develop a product, and how much is customizable. So as you see there, the kind of the top category in which Streamlit excels is time to develop. So in very short time, compared to competitors, it allows to build kind of very quickly. But let's say the worst part are the scalability part. So when you have to, let's say you have hundreds of users that would like to connect to your application, then you have to think about how to manage all this traffic that goes to the application. And then it's where Streamlit, it's a bit limited. You don't have control to the backend. You have limited control to your backend. And you also have really limited control on your user interface. You can a bit customize the application, but you are basically fixed with the Streamlit template that you cannot touch too much. So yes, so this goes to the end. The idea of, so is it really worth learning? The short answer is it depends. It's a bit disappointing answer. But we think if you are in the field of data and you are especially if you're working with visualization and data preparation, so data engineering, data scientists, and machine learning engineers. I think it's something that can empowers you when you have to talk with non-expert users. So you want to show something in a digestible way, and you don't have time to learn to build a web application. So you want something quick, something easy to deploy, and something that it's embedded in your normal workflow. Let's say you work with Python, you want something that it's easy. So that's the ballpark in which we recommend to use Streamlit. And yeah, that's it. We hope you found like some insights about Streamlit, and if you have any question, feel free to ask.
Yeah. Did you have a logging system?
I think there should be, I'm not sure of the answer, but I believe it can be possible, but then the answer will also be related to the notion of scalability with the number of users, and it will be difficult to have a very large platform with tens or thousands of users. On principle, I think it may exist, but keep it small, I would say.
Yes, you have Streamlit extensions, and then you can connect it with Auth0. You have yes, you can talk basically with the authentication provider, and then you need all these credentials to log in. But as soon when you configure the extension, yes, you can create a login button. We have, for instance, an internal application that runs internally in Argusa for time tracking. So the idea, we log in with our accounts, and then it's automatically recognize our account and then redirects to the correct data, let's say.
An AI challenge. So we don't ask you to build a Streamlit app, but you can if you want. That's not the goal, but it's possible. But you will have a challenge to do during one weekend, and then the final where you will show your results to a jury will be a Wednesday at the Innovation Park. So there are still a few places if you want to participate. There is a QR code. It is on our LinkedIn page. And yes, we are happy to have LauzHack as a partner for this event. So do not hesitate. There are a few places if you don't know what to do at the beginning of November, and you can also win some prizes. So yeah, do not hesitate.